Ferrari finally beat Mercedes in Barcelona, but that win may have created a bigger problem than losing ever could. Hamilton took Ferrari's first victory of the season, Russell finished second, and suddenly the team that had been chasing Mercedes became the team every rival wanted to inspect, because Mercedes still leads the bigger data story. Antonelli has 5 wins, 156 points, and roughly 44% of the fastest flying laps this season. So when Ferrari suddenly found the performance to win, the paddock had one question. Was Barcelona a breakthrough or a warning sign? No one has proven Ferrari cheated, but in Formula One, suspicion alone can start a war. And now Mercedes has a target, Hamilton has momentum, Leclerc is under pressure, and Ferrari has to prove this win was real before the entire championship turns against them. Subscribe to the channel. At first, Ferrari's Barcelona win looked like the cleanest kind of triumph. No mystery, no drama, no complicated explanation. Hamilton qualified near the front, Ferrari executed the race, Mercedes did not take the victory, and the red car finally gave its fans the moment they had been waiting for. After weeks of chasing, questions, pressure, and comparison with Mercedes, Ferrari had a result it could hold up and say, this is proof. Proof that the upgrades were working. Proof that Hamilton was finally unlocking the SF26. Proof that Ferrari had not fallen too far behind the Mercedes concept. Proof that the championship was not already slipping away. But Formula One never lets a breakthrough stay simple. Because the moment Ferrari won, the question changed. Before Barcelona, people were asking whether Ferrari could catch Mercedes. After Barcelona, they started asking how Ferrari had caught Mercedes so suddenly. That is a very different kind of pressure. When a team is chasing, everyone talks about potential. When a team wins, everyone starts looking for details. The rear wing, the floor, the energy deployment, the tire behavior, the straight line speed, the corner exits, the timing of the upgrade, the way the car suddenly looks more stable than it did before. That is why Barcelona became so dangerous for Ferrari. The victory did not end the scrutiny. It invited it. Mercedes had dominated the season up to that point. Antonelli had won 5 of the first 7 races. He was leading the championship with 156 points. Mercedes had shown the strongest race pace pattern of the year, with Antonelli producing roughly 44% of the fastest flying laps in the early season sample. That kind of advantage does not disappear quietly. So when Ferrari beat Mercedes in Spain, the paddock was never going to simply clap and move on. Mercedes had every reason to look closer, not because Ferrari had been proven guilty of anything. That matters. There is no confirmed proof in the source that Ferrari cheated. But in Formula One, suspicion does not always begin with proof. Suspicion begins when the pattern changes. And Barcelona changed the pattern. Hamilton had been building momentum, but this was different. A podium is one thing. A strong qualifying is one thing. A win against Mercedes is something else entirely. It tells rivals that Ferrari may have found a new operating window. It tells engineers that the car may be solving a problem. It tells the championship that the red car is no longer only waiting for Mercedes to make mistakes. It can beat Mercedes directly. And that is when every rival starts asking the same question. Where did the time come from? That question is dangerous because Ferrari's earlier weaknesses were already clear. The SF26 had struggled against Mercedes in traction and energy deployment. In Miami, Ferrari's hybrid system had been exposed for clipping on the straights, cutting electrical assistance too early, and leaving the drivers vulnerable at the end of long acceleration zones. Mercedes, by contrast, had been able to deploy energy more completely. That kind of gap is not cosmetic. It changes racing. If the battery support fades too early, the driver cannot attack properly. He cannot defend properly. He exits the corner, commits to the straight, and then feels the car stop pulling at the moment the rival keeps going. That is the kind of weakness Mercedes would remember. So when Ferrari suddenly won in Barcelona, Mercedes would not just see a red car ahead. It would see a technical question. Had Ferrari fixed the energy issue? Had Hamilton found a driving style that masked it? Had the track layout hidden the weakness? Or had Ferrari discovered something deeper in the car's setup, something that changed the entire championship equation? That is the first real problem for Ferrari. It now has to prove Barcelona was repeatable. One win can be explained in many ways. A perfect setup window, a circuit that suits the car, a driver performing at an extraordinary level, a rival not extracting everything, a tire window that opens at the perfect moment. But repeated wins are different. Repeated wins become evidence. And Ferrari needs evidence quickly. Because Mercedes will not treat Barcelona like an emotional story. Mercedes will treat it like a data problem. That is what makes Mercedes so dangerous. It does not need to shout to apply pressure. It studies. It compares traces. It looks at where Ferrari gained time. It checks whether the gain came from corner entry, exit traction, energy deployment, tire life, or aerodynamic stability. It asks whether the improvement is legal, repeatable, and vulnerable. That is how top teams attack each other, not only on the track, through suspicion, through questions, through pressure, through forcing the rival to defend its own progress. And Ferrari is now standing directly under that spotlight. The second problem is inside Ferrari, because Barcelona did not just strengthen Ferrari against Mercedes. It strengthened Hamilton inside Ferrari. That win changed the internal balance. Hamilton had already been moving closer to the center of the project. The SF26 seemed to be evolving toward a performance window that suited him more naturally. Smoother exits, more stable balance, better energy discipline, a driving style built around control instead of pure aggression. Barcelona turned that theory into a result. Hamilton delivered Ferrari's first win of the season. And in a team like Ferrari, that matters more than words can explain. A win gives a driver authority. It makes engineers listen differently. It makes strategy discussions feel different. It makes the team believe that this driver has found the path. For Leclerc, that creates pressure. Because Leclerc is not just another teammate. He is the driver many people expected Ferrari to build around. He knows the team deeply. He carries the emotional history. He has been the Ferrari constant through years of frustration and hope. But Formula One does not reward emotional ownership. It rewards conversion. And Hamilton converted. That is where the Barcelona win becomes complicated. Ferrari has to celebrate Hamilton's victory, but it also has to manage what that victory means for Leclerc. If the car's development direction continues to suit Hamilton, and if Hamilton keeps scoring more strongly, Ferrari may face a decision it did not expect this early. Does the team still treat Hamilton and Leclerc equally in the championship? Or does it follow the driver who has already delivered the breakthrough? That question can split a garage quietly. Not through arguments, through priorities. Whose setup direction matters more? Whose feedback lines up with the data? Whose strategy gets protected first? Whose championship position becomes the main reference? That is the hidden tension after Barcelona. A win can unite a team. But if one driver's win changes the future direction of the car, it can also create a fault line. And Mercedes knows that too. That is the third problem for Ferrari. Mercedes does not only need to respond with car performance. It can respond by applying pressure to Ferrari's internal balance. If Mercedes keeps Russell close to Hamilton, or if Antonelli returns to winning immediately, Ferrari's decision becomes harder. Does it back Hamilton fully? Does it protect Leclerc emotionally? Does it risk splitting points while Mercedes continues with the stronger overall package? Those are the kinds of questions that destroy clarity. And in a title fight, clarity is everything. Mercedes already has its own internal issues with Russell and Antonelli, but the data still points to Antonelli as the championship reference. He has the points lead. He has the wins. He has the race pace share. Mercedes knows where its strongest momentum is coming from. Ferrari may not have that luxury yet. Hamilton has the Barcelona win and the championship advantage inside Ferrari. Leclerc still has the history, the speed, and the emotional claim. That means Ferrari is not only trying to beat Mercedes, is trying to decide itself. And teams that are still deciding themselves are vulnerable. The fourth problem is that Barcelona may have changed expectations too quickly. Before the win, Ferrari could say it was still building, still learning, still closing the gap, still trying to understand the new regulations. After the win, that protection disappears. Now fans expect more. The media expects more. Hamilton expects more. Mercedes expects a real threat. And every future race where Ferrari falls back will look worse because Barcelona proved the ceiling exists. That is the cruel thing about a breakthrough. Once you show what the car can do, you cannot pretend the target is lower anymore. If Ferrari struggles in Austria, people will ask why Barcelona happened. If Ferrari struggles at Silverstone, people will ask whether the win was circuit-specific. If Hamilton falls back, people will ask whether Ferrari lost the window. If Leclerc cannot match Hamilton, people will ask whether the team has moved away from him. Every outcome becomes sharper. That is why the so-called scandal around Barcelona is so powerful, even without proof of cheating. It creates a cloud of questions, and questions can be as disruptive as accusations. A team under questioning spends energy explaining. It spends energy defending. It spends energy reassuring drivers, sponsors, fans, and itself that the performance is real. Meanwhile, Mercedes keeps working. That is why Ferrari's huge problem after Barcelona is not only technical, it is psychological. The team has to keep its confidence without becoming defensive. It has to prove the win was legitimate without letting suspicion control the narrative. It has to support Hamilton without damaging Leclerc. It has to chase Mercedes while knowing Mercedes is now studying every detail of the red car. That is a lot of pressure from one victory. But that is Formula One. A win does not just give you points. It gives your rivals a reason to attack. And Mercedes will attack the weakest part of the story. If Ferrari's Barcelona pace came from a perfect setup window, Mercedes will try to force Ferrari outside that window. If it came from Hamilton's driving style, Mercedes will pressure Ferrari on circuits where Leclerc also needs confidence. If it came from energy deployment improvements, Mercedes will watch every straight and every acceleration zone. If it came from tires, Mercedes will push Ferrari into races where degradation becomes harder. And if it came from a technical gain rivals do not understand, the questions will only get louder. That is why Ferrari cannot simply enjoy Barcelona. It has to defend it, with another strong race, then another, because the only way to kill suspicion in Formula One is repetition. One win creates questions. Repeated wins create proof. That is the path Ferrari must now walk. And the problem is that Mercedes is still the team with the stronger overall pattern. Antonelli's season has not vanished because Hamilton won one race. Mercedes' race pace advantage has not disappeared because Barcelona favored Ferrari. Russell finishing second showed Mercedes was still right there. The championship lead still belongs to Antonelli. So Ferrari has not overtaken Mercedes yet. It has entered Mercedes' range. And that may be even more dangerous, because now Mercedes has felt the threat. Before Barcelona, Mercedes could treat Ferrari as a challenger still trying to connect the pieces. After Barcelona, Ferrari becomes a target.